opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Got a great show for you today, like we always do. We're going to have some Springfield girls basketball players that you're going to hear interviews from today as we get ready for their regional semifinal. And the Western Reserve Blue Devils are also going to be playing in the same spot tonight as well. So we'll talk about those two games. We'll hear from a couple of Springfield players. Their player profiles are locked in, ready to go to play. We'll also recap last night's action, and we'll talk about the other games that are going on tonight, as well as we got some boys games in action as well. It is tournament time. It is so exciting, and let's get to it. Let's get to what was going on last night. We'll start with the higher, more on the line. It was a regional semifinal in Cuyahoga Falls, and Garrettsville Garfield was going up against one of the best teams in the state. I don't think any coach in the girls basketball area or the district would disagree with that. If you want any kind of proof of how the coaches in the area feel, or in the district, I should say, feel about Laurel, just look at their seeding. They were 17-6 after the regular season was over, and they still were awarded the 1 seed. That is all based on voting by the coaches, and they understood that Laurel had amazing talent, a couple of D1 players. Well, I should say one D1 player, and then a couple of ones that haven't committed yet, but we kind of understand, if you know basketball, they're going to be D1 in the future. So, you look at that and Garfield going up, and I was so impressed with this game. I watched it on GGTV, which I want to give a shout out to because they've done great work all season long with their broadcast of Garfield home games, both boys and girls. Last night ended their broadcast run for those seniors that were putting together those broadcasts. So I want to give them a shout out and tell them they did an incredible job covering Garfield, especially their home games, but they also followed them for the tournament. They were down there in Struthers. They were doing one right next to Alacaberna, and they were in Cuyahoga Falls last night, and they did a wonderful job with that broadcast as well. The seat's always open. If you're ever interested in college and you want to keep broadcasting games, let us know at YSN. We'd love to have you as part of our team. I think they did a great job. That was their last broadcast. I believe they said until the commencement ceremony. So GGTV, great job this basketball season, great job in the fall season as well, and we can't wait to see who you put in that booth next year. They'll have big shoes to fill. But now that is out of the way, and I've given them their due, and they're just time in the spotlight, I want to talk about this game a little bit. I was so impressed with Garfield because I think a lot of people came into this game expecting it to be, Laurel by 20 or 30, and I think Laurel probably expected that too. A lot of people kind of gave Laurel a trip to Dayton before the tournament even began. That it was that kind of a team where you just assumed they were going to win the region, and they still could. They got the win last night, but Garfield came in and just fought their tails off. I mean, you look at the way Garfield played, they matched Laurel's physicality, even though Laurel was bigger than them, probably stronger than them too. Didn't really matter. Garfield was boxing them out, was pushing them and giving them their bumps and everything, and the refs were letting a physical game play out, which really you would think probably worked to Laurel's favor, but Garfield was up for that task as well. Especially Madeline Shirky on the defensive side, physically staying with Hall, who is one of the best players on that team. Um, they played good. It's funny to say this because they played good defense on her, but she scored 16 points. If that tells you how good that senior for Laurel is. I'm sorry, freshman. Brickley is the senior, but you look at that, and Garfield and Laurel were tied in 11 in the first quarter. They were back and forth. Offenses were both hitting shots. Laurel went on a little bit of a run. I think they made it 21-11, something like that. It was a run where you were kind of sitting there watching, thinking this is where Laurel's going to take over the game. And Garfield came back from that little run the second quarter, and they were able to cut it within 2 at halftime. It was 27-25 at the half. Throughout the whole third quarter, both teams really locked down on defense. It was a pretty evenly played third quarter, and then until 30 seconds left, this was the turning point in the game, and this is where Coach Gilbert's going to look at it and think, dang, this is the point of the game that's going to get magnified a little bit. 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Garfield down by 5 with the ball. Obviously, the chance to hold for the last shot. Hopefully, get yourselves down to a one possession deficit by the time you go into the fourth quarter. But instead, Laurel forced 2 live ball turnovers. So one layup down by 7, and then with about 15, 10 seconds left, another steal, fast break layup, and in a blink of an eye, in 30 seconds, Laurel went from only being up 5 with the danger of having a one possession lead going into the final frame to being up by 9. And it looked like in the fourth quarter, although Garfield did a really good job keeping it there and staying within that striking distance of 3 possessions, they never really let Laurel run away with it per se. They just didn't have enough gas to make that next run to push it within one possession again. So unfortunately, it seemed like that was Garfield's last chance to get close. And once you get close, I think, a lot of people are like, well, if they were out of gas, they would have been out of gas anyway. It doesn't matter. But I think things dramatically change when you're that close. You find a little bit of adrenaline in that reserve. You never know how Laurel would have reacted to a game where they thought they were going to dominate, and all of a sudden, okay, we're close at a halftime. We can still do this. Third quarter, those doubts start to step in. Like, this team's not going away. Then imagine you get into the fourth quarter, like, we have 8 minutes and this team's not gone yet. Our dream season is on the line. That might start to creep into a lot of those younger players' heads, especially the freshmen that do so well on that team. You never know. So it could have been a different game if Garfield goes into the fourth quarter, I should say, with a one possession deficit. But that wasn't to be. Laurel stepped up, made 2 really good plays, forced 2 really good live ball turnovers, and got 2 layups back to back. Went up by 9 in the fourth, won by 12 overall. Final score down there was, what was it, 11? I think it was 53. Hold on. Let me get the final for you. I always bring up the finals, and this is why. Pro tip: don't do them by memory. But final score down there was 53-41. I was right. Never second guess myself. No, that's wrong. I'm just joking. Always second guess yourself. 53-41 final score in Garfield. How about this game on the boys' side as we flip from the girls' regional semifinal to some boys' games? The last round of district semifinals before we get into district championships tonight and tomorrow. East Liverpool got the win over Carrollton, 47-43. A lot of people, especially people that are familiar with the EBC, your Salem fans, your West Branch fans, they know how good of a basketball team Carrollton is, especially on the defensive side. I mean, that tells you all they need to know. They held They held East Liverpool to 47 points. This is a high-flying offense that can score 80 points. They've done it plenty of times this year. Carrollton plays a really good, hard-nosed, you earn everything type of defense. And East Liverpool, I was impressed that they were able to match that defense, and they were able to just find ways to score when they needed to most. I mean, I think a lot excuse me there, but you see a lot of teams in the tournament that have this high flying offense. And the whole adage that you always talk about is eventually you're going to run into a defense that slows that down a little bit. And the whole question with those teams is, how do you manage that? How do you bounce back from when your offense isn't cooking, right? Because they've been so used to having the really good offense all year. What happens when it gets slowed down a little bit? Do you hit the panic button? And East Liverpool emphatically said no. We are a very well coached team, very well coached team in East Liverpool. They never hit the panic button, probably because Coach never hit the panic button, right? Coach Conley never hit the panic button at all, and he's a calm, cool, and collected guy. And teams reflect the attitude of their coach. So when he doesn't, panic that the offense isn't getting what they're usually getting, and stay the course. That's what East Liverpool did last night. Stayed the course, played good defense, trusted the process, and came away with a win. 47-43, the final score there. There were a lot of people that thought this was a game where the Potters could lose. I mean, I think there are still people that are kind of not whole the way bought into this East Liverpool team. I think they're holding on to that senior class that graduated last year and thinking, okay, this is a good team, but they're not last year's team. They're not those seniors, right? But uh, Potters are like raising their hand like, no, we don't think so. We think we're still here. And those guys, those people are coming up with less and less reasons that they're able to doubt East Liverpool. I'll tell you that much. Big win for the Potters, and like I said, I love the way they were able to do it. Not with their offense. Their offense kept up and made plays when they had to, but like I said, it wasn't their typical offensive performance. They were able to win this with defensive stops and then clutch offensive plays down the stretch. Very impressive win by the Potters. Canfield got a win 66-57 over Notre Dame Cathedral Latin in Boardman, by the way. So that's one of those games where, I know we usually get the short end of the stick of the games where we have to travel, our teams, I should say. We have to travel, X amount for a game where the other team doesn't have to travel a lot. This time it worked out in our favor as the district is held in Boardman, which isn't all that far from Canfield. And Notre Dame Cathedral Latin had to go about an hour away to get here. But Canfield, once again, they are a team that I think a lot of people look at the start of the season, look at a couple of the losses they had in the second and third weeks of the season, and maybe scratch their head a little bit. But like a lot of other teams that are hitting their stride late, Canfield tournament time, it turns on. They play really good defense. There's the shocker. They're guided by one of the best defensive minds that we've ever seen come through the area in John Cullen. I mean, you look at his defenses that he's been able to coach. No matter where he goes, their hallmark is defense, 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 defense. And I'm sure he's not extremely pleased with 57 points. He's one of those guys that he's greedy, right? He wants the whole team's under 50, right? So 57, probably he'll still find things to improve on, but this Lions team has a really tough schedule. They play really good defenses. They still score quite a bit, and Canfield was able to hold them down enough to win 66-57 and advance in the tournament. Another boy score for you, 87-53. Ysn runs away from Edgewood. This game was close for a little bit, but Ysn's offensive firepower, they just have so many guys that can beat you, and it was just too much for Edgewood to stop eventually. The dams kind of broke, and all the Ysn's players started to really find their groove. Ursuline's good. I mean, what can you say? That they're a very good basketball team. That it's not just a one-player show. They have depth on the bench. They have widespread offensive players they can go to. They're a team that, and then I think also a team that gets overlooked is the defensive side. I mean, this is an Edgewood team that also scores 70 a lot and has had several games at the 80s. So you could think that maybe Edgewood would keep up with Ursuline, but holding an Edgewood team that scores 70 quite often to 53, it's impressive defense for Ursuline. They play a really good defensive game. I think that gets overlooked with a lot of teams that have a lot of good scorers on their roster that how well they play defense. But Man, Ursuline puts a lot of ball pressure on you. Coach Gunther is just known for causing havoc with the defenses that he runs. He loves to be up in your face and not let the passing lanes be easy. Ursuline jumps passing lanes probably better than most of the boys' teams in our area. I think when you look at their defense and the one thing they do so well, they just read what pass you're going to make and they jump it. How many times have they've had breakaway points because they're able to just get their hands on a pass or cross court skip pass or something like that, where it's almost like they came out of nowhere. They get it. They just break right through the line. They cut off the pass, and you give Ursuline breakaway points, then you cannot stop them in transition. They're way too athletic for that. So Ursuline, a very good win. They're going to move on in the D2 tournament, 87-53 final score there. Those are your finals from last night. Pretty we're getting down to the nitty gritty where there's only a couple of teams left. These games are getting scarce. Once again, Garfield, congratulations on a great season on the girls' side. But then the other two games went Ysn's way. Obviously, Ursuline and Edgewood, we were guaranteed a Ysn school moving on, but Canfield able to get the win over Notre Dame Cathedral Latin as well. So overall, a pretty good night for the Ysn family. We congratulate the teams that are moving on, and we look forward to tonight's games on the boys' side as well. Before we talk about them, though, and before we talk about the two regional semis on the girls' side that are going down in Massillon Perry, we had some interviews to get to. Some girls that we're going to hear from, I should say, from that Springfield team that is going on to play in the regional semifinals tonight in Massillon Perry. First, we're going to go to junior Ava Vecchione, who's taken a big step on Springfield's defensive side of the ball. The Tigers only give up 33 points per game, and one of the reasons why they're able to do that is because Ava Vecchione is trusted to go up and guard a lot of teams' best scorers. So we had a chance to catch up with her. Let's hear what she had to say ahead of their regional semifinal game tonight. Starting here with another Springfield girls basketball player profile. I am joined by Ava Vecchione. Ava, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
So here you are, back-to-back district champions. When you were able to raise the trophy and get that medal around your neck on Saturday, how did it feel?
It was great knowing that, like, what we've been working for all season, like, we've reached our goal. It's a great experience. It's so fun, like, winning it with my teammates.
How did it compare to the one you guys won last year?
I mean, the one last year, it was a closer game, so it was more intense, but I still think, like, I still got the same feeling. Like, I was still, like, excited and just love being, like, with my teammates again.
This year, there were so many goals that this team has had, not only winning a district, but also winning the MVAC. And now your goal gets moved up to winning a regional. But let's go back to the regular season. Going through that MVAC Scarlet tier, which is so tough, still has two teams left in the regionals. What was it like going through that with the goals in mind of winning it?
I mean, we had a game plan for every single team, like lock down their best players and break their presses and stuff. So I think we did good, like following through with our goals, and then everything just worked out.
What were some of the things that you worked on in the summer to make yourself and to make the team better coming into this season?
I mean, I knew my main goal this season was going to focus on defense because we have like our scores like JC and Maddie and Jamaica, and so I knew like this season like my main role would be defense. So I try to focus a lot on that in the summer and then handling the ball better.
You've been asked to guard a lot of the other team's best scorers. I mean, we brought Coach on before your district championship, and that's what he said. We always put Ava on the other team's best scorer. What's that like knowing that the coaches trust you with that responsibility?
I mean, it makes me feel good about myself. I mean, those girls, like most of the girls that I've guarded, they're good. They give me a good competition. But I mean, I got to give props to my teammates too because they're always in help, and it's not just me. It's like all of us together, and that's how our defense is executed.
When you kind of knew that that was going to be one of your roles this year, what were some things that went through your mind when you were trying to prepare yourself and trying to be confident that you were able to do it?
I mean, I knew I just had to like have my quick feet. I got to stay low, and I don't know. I mean, just listen to my teammates and.
You have a lot of great leaders on this team, but as someone that gets significant playing time and has a big role in their success, you're a leader too. How have you handled stepping into a leadership role this year and being able to kind of guide some of the younger players on with you?
I mean, all my teammates make it easy for me to like talk to them and stuff. So, I mean, it wasn't that hard like stepping into that role because like JC and Maddie, I've been playing with them like all throughout high school. So, like I'm already comfortable with them, and then Anna and Jamaica and all the other girls, like they're just like all friendly, so it wasn't that hard.
You guys have four really good senior leaders. From your perspective, what do you think they've done for this team and this program since you've been able to start playing with them?
I mean, I love those girls. Like they're so good at what they do, and they're always so nice, and they really like they are the leaders of the team. So it's going to be so different without them next year. But I love being with them for all these 4 years.
How much of the drive to win in this tournament has this been to earn more time with them and more practices with them and more bus rides, more games with those seniors?
I mean, I love it. Like in the district semi game when it was so close, like it just made me like sad thinking about like, oh, this could have been my last game with them. And like after, like I was just like in shock that like we had a practice the next day, but also happy that like I still got to be with them because it's gonna be so different without them next year because they're the leaders. Like they've always been there.
Let's go back to that district semifinal. Obviously, you guys, were down late in that game, but your seniors especially put their foot in the ground and said, this is not how we're going to end the season. What was it like to see them do that and to see them just kind of turn on a switch and pick you guys up and lead you to victory?
I mean, it was crazy. It was I don't know, it was just such like an emotional game. Like everyone was so like excited and like all worked up and stuff. But it was so fun like watching them like get all like mad and like determined. And they just like they Maddie and JC and everyone like they just finished so strong, and I don't know, I'm glad everything worked out.
What is the biggest kind of biggest shape of leadership I would say that you're going to learn from them when they're gone when you have to be a bigger leader next year?
Um Definitely just like talking and like helping like the younger girls because they're good at that. Like they're like nice about it, but like if someone makes a mistake, like they'll like cheer them up or they'll like help them fix it. So
Let's
maybe that.
talk about this coaching staff that you have during the basketball season as well. Coach Matisse in his second year with you guys, and all he's done is lead you to two district championships. What kind of things has he done with this program that you think has really brought this success that you guys have?
I mean, he's definitely all in. Like all the coaches, like they watch all the film. Like right after our game, like they already know like for the next team we're gonna play like what players we have to like guard, their shooters, like how we need to break their press and what defenses they run. So I mean, you can tell like they're like all in and they know what they're talking about and they're good.
So obviously the goal in regionals is to win a regional and go to state, but you've already been to state in a sport. You got there in track last year. How much are you leaning on the experience of just competing at that level, trying to keep yourselves calm for regional?
Um, I mean, it's like nerve wracking, but it's really exciting because I mean, track is the only sport that I've like really made it like far in, so it's exciting going there with basketball with this team because I know like we are a good team and we definitely have we definitely are able to do it. So I think we can definitely make a run.
Last year was the team's first trip down to Perry. Now you've been there before, you know what to expect. How much are you leaning on what you kind of took in last year to help you prepare for this season?
I mean, we definitely like we know the atmosphere better. Like we've been there, so we know what it's like the hour and like a half long drive. Like we know what to expect with that. So, and I think like this year we have a better chance like of being in the game and winning it. So it's just exciting.
We've talked about your track and you're also a soccer player, so definitely a multiple sport athlete at Springfield. What's it like balancing all of that and trying to also maintain your studies and maintain a social life?
I mean, having all these sports, it keeps it like exciting. It helps like with school, like make it go faster. I mean, sometimes it's stressful, but I think it makes it fun and makes everything more exciting, something to look forward to.
Do you have a favorite sport that you play?
Usually just whatever sport season I'm in. I mean, soccer's always been my favorite, but lately, like I've liked basketball too a lot. So it just
Wh-
depends on the season.
What's the transition been like between when you end soccer season, you go into basketball, and then when basketball ends, you go into track? What do you how do you handle the transition into the different mindsets that all those sports bring?
Well, I definitely take like a week break in between just to like reset. But I mean, I'm so like used to it because I've been doing it like my whole life. So I don't know. I don't really think about it much. I just know I have to focus in on whatever I'm doing.
Been doing it your whole life. Let's rewind your memory back to when you started playing sports and some of the first times you picked up these soccer ball and you picked up a basketball. What are some of your first memories of loving the sports that you play?
Um, I mean, when I was younger, like my parents pushed me to doing all these sports. Like I didn't really, I don't know. When I was younger, I never really wanted to do that. I was like more like gymnastics and stuff. But then I played soccer and like I loved it, and basketball. Like I don't know. I just thought it was so fun. So
While you were diving into those sports, did you try any other ones that you were like, this is not for me, I'm not going to do this anymore?
yeah, I actually did. I played a little bit of flag football. I did tennis, golf. I did it all.
Are there any sports that you never really tried that you watch and say, man, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I could throw my hat into that ring?
um, I feel like if I would have like stuck with gymnastics, I feel like that would have been pretty cool, like doing all the flips and stuff.
How much of that can you still like? Is gymnastics? Can you still do some stuff? Are you still in that mode? Like, is it right like riding a bike where you don't really forget how to do those things?
If I have a trampoline, but other than that, no.
When you think about the success that Springfield Athletics has had over the years and the athletes that have been coming through, especially of late, what's that like to be in a school system where you can look around and whether it be the football team, the basketball team, baseball, softball, you guys, the soccer team, what's it like to look around and see so many successful athletes that really push themselves to succeed?
I mean, I love it. Like I love like going and supporting like all the football teams, like when they went to state for a couple years, and like when the boys like went to regionals in basketball a few years ago, and like us having success, like it makes it fun, and we have such a supportive community. Like they all come to our games and support us, and it's just great to see.
We do know that Tiger Nation is strong. What's your favorite part about the Springfield community and how much they support you?
I mean, I've been loving our past like few games. Like instead of just having like a student section, like it's like just the whole crowd. Like when we're on defense, they're all cheering defense, and they're all just like so into the game. Like it really like it makes you feel like good that they're all like there to support you. So
Are you a player that hears the crowd and feeds into it, or are you someone that tries to lock all the noise out so you can't hear it?
I mean, usually I just try to like get in my zone and like try to like block out everything. But I mean, like sometimes like I use it to like motivate me because it's just exciting.
All right. So obviously there are a lot more experiences that you go through in high school. Outside of you can't say the sports you play. That's the easy answer to this question. But outside of that, what have been some of your favorite experiences in high school so far?
Um, I mean, just like all my friends, like making new friends, like going through all my friend groups. But yeah, other than sports, like that, like my friends.
Yeah, that's what makes it hard. I know sports are
Yeah.
are a big part of it, but talking about all the teammates that you've been able to make and those friends you've been able to build, um, who's someone on the basketball team that you think you've really gotten to know, and you think that maybe if it wasn't for basketball, they might not be in your friend group per se?
Oh God, I became friends with like a lot of them, but probably like I don't know, like me and Maddie. Like I always talk to her. Like we've gotten closer because of basketball, and even like Jamaica. Like we've gotten closer, and like Mariana. So I'm
What
like,
kind of things does this team do to build chemistry and build those bonds that you're talking about off the court?
I mean, like we've gone to like the YSU basketball game, like a girls' game before. We do like some team dinners. Saturday we had a team breakfast. But I think like other than that, we just like all get along well. So it's really not hard like having to bond and connect.
When you guys are having a team dinner, what's the best team dinner? Where's the go-to spot? What's the go-to meal for your team?
Um, well, there's like a guy that we know. His last name's Yema. He has like a food company, and we always love their food. They have good like pasta and chicken and stuff. So that's definitely our favorite team meal.
What about your favorite post-game meal after a big win?
Definitely just like I like Chick-fil-A. Like for our bus snacks, like sometimes we get Chick-fil-A sandwiches. That's definitely my favorite with some chocolate.
Speaking about bus snacks, obviously that's a big part of being a high school athlete. You get those snack bags, and I know the parents rotate. So, whose parent brings the best snack bags to a road game?
Um, Probably my teammate Kendall Mon's mom. Like she gets us like Chipotle or Hot Heads and Chick-fil-A, so she does good.
What's one thing for you? If this is in that snack bag, it's awesome. It's the grade A snack bag.
Well, the one time we had no bake cookies, those are my favorite. Or like Chick-fil-A cookies, just any type of cookie, really.
What is kind of like your guilty pleasure food? That dessert that you probably eat a little bit too much.
Um, Probably chocolate peanut butter brownie ice cream from Handles. This summer, I get that all the time, like once a week at least.
When you think about your teammates, I'm going to have you answer some questions about them. Who do you think is the most likely to succeed in their career outside of basketball?
Oh God, I don't know. Um, Maybe like Peyton. I feel like Peyton. She really like I don't know. I feel like she'd succeed well.
What teammate would you trust the most to be a getaway driver?
Oh God. Maybe JC. I feel like I would trust JC to drive.
What teammate is the most likely to need a getaway driver?
Uh oh God, maybe like Mariana Toscano.
What teammate has the best taste in music?
uh Probably I'd say like JC. Like she made our warm up playlist and I liked it.
What teammate has the most swag on the team?
Mm, I'm gonna have to give that one to Jamaica.
Who's the team clown, the one that can always make you guys laugh no matter what the situation is?
Definitely Emily Gerthung.
What about the opposite? Who's the team, like the serious one, the one that takes everything super serious and hard to make laugh, and even in a funny situation?
Honestly, I feel like none of us, like, I feel like we all, like, can joke around with each other. We'll all, like, just, I don't know, we all just, like, laugh on the court and off the court.
If you were playing the game Family Feud, who do you think would be the best at that?
Um, I gotta say Peyton again for that one.
What if we took the team to karaoke night? Who would be the first person to go up on stage?
Um, Probably, like, Maddie.
Do you what about you? What would be your karaoke song if you had to go up on stage for a karaoke night?
Oh, God. I'd probably keep it with, like, One Direction. Like, they're my favorite. Like, maybe, like, Best Song Ever by One Direction.
All right, that's good. That's old school. I like it.
Yeah.
What are some things that when you think about your future? Obviously, you got a couple of years left, but when you think about your future, have you started to think about what you want to do for the life outside of high school?
I'm not sure about like college sports yet, and I honestly don't know like what I want to major in, but I think I want to stay close to home like for school. Probably like go to YSU or somewhere like around there so I could just stay at home for like at least the first year.
All right, Abe, you got plenty of time to think about it. Thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you the best of luck in that regional semifinal in Perry, and we hope to talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you.
Sorry for that delay. I lost my mouse. But That was Ava Vecchione of Springfield as she gets ready for the regional semifinal tonight in Maslin Perry. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we have another Tiger to hear from. It's going to be Mariana Toscano from Springfield on the other end of this break. This is Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Flynn.
Hi, this is Steve Versetto.
Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience,
WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists.
Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
Or visit WRSwealth.com.
Go Raiders.
Go Dogs.
Go Cats.
Go Dogs. Go Tigers.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Mill Creek Metro Parks is your park for all seasons. Make a memory in the park. Plan your visit today at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you as we continue our interview section of the show. We already heard from Ava Vecchione from Springfield. Now we'll transition into Mariana Toscano, also from Springfield, as the Tigers get ready for their regional semifinal tonight in Maslin Perry. Here's what Mariana had to say about her season and what's to look ahead from tonight. Anthony Hartwig here with another Springfield girls basketball player profile. I am joined by sophomore Mariana Toscano. Mariana, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, year 2, and all you are back-to-back district champions. I mean, how's that feel to not lose a district yet in your high school career?
Winning is always such a good feeling, especially when it's back-to-back, and it just feels great winning it with the girls that I enjoy playing with.
Let's fast forward to, not fast forward, but rewind back to, the start of last season. Did you imagine that you'd have your first 2 years as district champions? Was that in your mindset?
I mean, our goal was always to go as far as we can and just play until we lose, honestly. I honestly had hope that we would win last year, and I had high hopes that we would win this year, and we did.
All right, so let's go back into the summer going into this year and getting ready in the preseason. Obviously, last year you won a district, you didn't win the league. This year, hungry to get back to regionals, you got that one down, and you've also won the MVAC, undefeated in the conference this year. What was that like to go through this MVAC? A lot of the teams returned almost everybody from last year, but this time around, you kind of ran the MVAC. What was that like going through that?
It was a really good feeling, as I said before. It was one of our goals to win league this year and, again, to win districts. It was just a really good feeling.
How have you grown since freshman season, now in your second year? How much have you grown from year 1 to year 2?
Last year, I was just a nervous freshman, as freshmen would usually be. I think my game has gotten much better. My shot has gotten much better. And all around, I think I have grown tremendously.
Who are some of the people that have helped you the most in that growth and gotten you to where you are now?
I would say my parents. My stepdad Hank has always been one of the ones that pushed me to be my greatest. He put me into basketball when I was young, and look where it's got.
Look where it has gotten you. Let's talk about that. Starting basketball young. What were some of the young memories of it, and when did you start to fall in love with the sport?
I played at the YMCA with most of the girls that I am on the team with now. I can just remember playing back in the YMCA and just loving the sport ever since I was a little kid. I think I started really liking it 8th grade going into freshman year when I played AAU with Coach Miller.
And you talked about how you've played with these girls that are on your team for so long. What's that been like growing up with them and playing with them in the gym and now getting to this point with them as well on your team?
I think it really helps when you've been playing with someone for so long because it's your guys' game. Like, it's not just one person all the way around on the team. It's like I've been playing with Jamaica ever since I was little, Kerrigan Mullen, just everyone on the team. I think it's really helped us get to where we're at right now.
When we watch Springfield play and we watch you play specifically, we learn real quick that you play the best when you're loose. You're out there, you're having fun, you're smiley, you're bubbly. What gives you that mentality during a game and you don't let the situation ever get too serious and you're always kind of a loose basketball player?
Coaches always say just play your game, have fun, and like you're always going to want to win, but even if you're not going to, just enjoy it while you're out there because you only get this opportunity once.
Have you ever struggled staying loose, or is that something that you've always been? Have you always been a loose basketball player?
Honestly, it's going to depend on the game. If I'm not having such like a good offensive day, I try to make it a defensive day for myself. But I mean, the past couple games, I think I've really been able to put my positivity out onto the court, and it clearly goes around with the other girls on the court.
I've talked to a couple of your teammates already, and when I ask about the personality of this locker room, they say it's controlled silliness pretty much. Like you guys can really have fun. You know when to be serious, you know when to take it seriously, but you definitely are a loose group. How do you kind of what do you like about that and being able to have fun with these teammates and the players on this roster?
Whenever you come into a sport, you're gonna think that like it's always gonna be serious. Like you just have to have your beast mode faced on, and just being able to have fun and laugh around with the girls and know whenever it's the time to get serious in the game. It's just really enjoyable.
I love that you call it the beast mode face. Who on your team has the best beast mode face?
Before every game, my mom always looks at Madison Lesnack and says, "Put that Maddie B face on."
Oh man! And speaking of Maddie, we get a lot of her pictures. Well, from her mom. She's the team photographer. What's that like to be able to go somewhere after every game and kind of relive the memories with pictures?
Honestly, last year we had John Pete on, but this year he hasn't been coming to many games, which is not his fault. But having Maddie there, Maddie's mom there, it's really nice because then after the game, if you want to, you can just go onto Facebook or Instagram and you can look at the pictures.
You seem to have a knack to finding the camera. I mean, would you describe yourself as pretty photogenic?
Oh no, not at all. Actually,
no.
You're
just looking for it. It's just finding you. That's all. When you think about being in that game mentality, Maddie puts on her beast mode face. What gets you locked in for a game?
Honestly, I don't really know. I think it's just warm-ups. I start getting into like the zone, I would call it. I just try to focus, and that's pretty much it.
Is it music? Do you like the silence? What kind of things get you all hyped up?
Definitely the music, the energy that the girls bring.
What is one song, maybe on your personal playlist, maybe on the team playlist, that no matter like what your mood is going into the gym, that will instantly like wake you up and get you hyped up for a game?
Definitely one of the songs would probably be Disturbia.
The Rihanna song?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I just wanted to make sure it wasn't some off the wall one that I didn't know about. When you think about, where this team is going into regionals for a second time, obviously you were there last year as a freshman. How much are you leaning on the experience of last year to kind of calm the nerves going into it this year?
It's always going to be nerve wracking going into this time of year, but last year I think we just have to focus on winning. Don't even think about the past at this point. We know we've been there, but it's always going to be a different game.
What have these last couple practices been like for you guys? You've won a district championship. You're preparing for regionals now. The teams get a little bit more unfamiliar. You know who you are at this point, so there's not a lot of fine tuning it anymore. What are practices like? What's the urgency, especially from the seniors, like in these last couple practices?
Our last couple practices, we've been trying to keep it more serious. Of course, we're gonna have some of the laughs that we usually have. You cannot go practice without laughing at our practice. We're really just trying to keep it serious. All of the seniors, we're all striving to go farther than we did last year.
I know with how much this team laughs, this is going to be a tough question, hard to narrow it down, but give us one kind of funny in practice memory that you have this season of something that sometimes someone did something really silly, or sometime that someone did something that really made you laugh.
Honestly, I think I made myself laugh a lot this year. We'll be like running through out of bounds plays, and sometimes I'll forget the side that I have to go on. And the one time we were running out of bounds play, and I was like, "Oh, I have to go opposite side," and then I was standing in the spot, and I felt so confident. Comes to be that I'm on the same side as the ball take coming, so I have to run to the opposite side, and it just made everyone laugh because I can be stupid at times.
We've talked about, how your coaching staff tells you guys to just go out there and have fun and enjoy the process. This is Coach Matizzi's second year as the head coach with the girls program. You've had him for your entire career, both years. What do you think he brings to the table that makes this program so successful?
His effort and his job is pretty great. He always comes to practice prepared. He has a list. Whenever we have a game coming up, he has the film, he has the matchups, and he prepares us a lot for every single game.
Does that make it easier for you guys to put time in it when you see your coach putting just as much as you are?
Yes, it does.
What's that do for your confidence in him? Obviously, trust is a big thing with your coach. You have to trust your coach, and we know that that's not always, just given. You have to earn that trust. So, that being said, seeing the coach Matizzi is always giving his time to you guys. What's that do for your confidence in him as a coach?
He's really never given us a reason not to trust him. He's always been prepared. I just, out of all my coaches, I think he is the one that I would always love to play with and trust.
We only get to see him on the sidelines. You get to see him in practice outside of the gym all the time. What's one thing about Coach Matizzi that we might not know that you think people should know?
On the sidelines of games, he seems very serious, but at points during practice and sometimes during games and halftime, he can have some fun even if he's in like the mode where like he wants to win, and he just has a personality.
I want to ask you about this district semifinal because in the fourth quarter, things were looking a little bit bleak. You guys had a 9-point deficit, but your seniors seemed like they just hit a switch where it said, like, we're not losing this way. This is not how our career is going to end. What was it like from your perspective, one of the younger players on the team, to see the senior leaders turn it on like that and to, just will the team back into that game and will the team to victory?
Honestly, I wasn't trying to lose either. I knew, but every game now is this like the last time you're gonna play with this team, like this exact team. So the seniors, Maddie Lesnack, JC Mullen, all of them, they came out to play. They knew that they had to come out and they had to give us the lead that we had.
When you see them, your senior leaders this year, and the way they conduct themselves, what kind of legacy do you think that's going to leave on the program? And how much do you think you're going to take away from the leaders that you've had this year to be a leader in your future the next couple of years?
They're going to leave a big legacy leaving.
us now sophomores going to be juniors, and Ava Vecchione are going to be our senior next year. We know that we have to step it up and maybe one up them.
Let's talk about your schooling as well. You're a student athlete. Student always comes first in that phrase for a reason. I hear sophomore year is always the hardest. How has the school life been this year at Springfield so far?
It's going. Haven't really failed any classes, so that's good. I'm going to say overall 9 out of 10 so far.
9 out of 10. That's a good one. What's been the favorite subject or the one that you have to work the least at?
I'm really good at math, but I'm gonna have to say my favorite subject is gonna be biology.
What about the opposite? The subject that gives you the most trouble that you have to work the hardest at to get those grades up?
Oh, history, 100%.
History.
I'm not good at that whatsoever.
All right. So, what are some study habits? What are your go-to study practices to help in history to try to make that grade as good as possible?
He gives us study guides, and I just rewrite them and just look over them for probably 2 hours every time I try to study.
What do you think is the hardest part about history? Is it the memorization? Is it the understanding why things happen? What gives you the most trouble?
I'm going to say it's the memorization.
All right. So when you're thinking about that, and now obviously you have to remember other stuff too. What's your favorite kind of way to remember stuff?
Honestly, I just have to keep looking over it over and over again to actually memorize it.
All right, so let's get back on the floor. You're going into your junior year next year. You will be one of the leaders that's asked to kind of put that on your shoulders, and you'll have 2 years left. I mean, when you start to think about getting older and becoming leaders in your own right, what kind of things do you think make you confident that you're going to be able to do that?
The seniors now just, how do I say this? They're just on us. Like they push us to be our best. And I know if I just go into my junior and senior season being like them, I think that'll just help me out a lot.
You know, you came into this program last year and you made an immediate impact as a freshman. So that being said, and I know you're always going to be able to use that as your experience. What would you say to another incoming freshman that wants to be kind of the same player you were as a freshman to come in and make an impact? What kind of advice do you give them?
Just keep working. It may not happen your freshman year. It is very hard to play freshman, but just keep working at it, and hopefully you will get to where you want to be.
You know, with the success you guys have had, you are a role model now. You have younger players coming to your games and wanting to be where you're at on that varsity floor. What's that like for you guys to be able to know that you have younger players watching you and wanting to be like you?
It feels nice to be seen as a role model. That's really all I have to say. It feels nice.
You know, if little girls are watching and they want to start up basketball, what's the first thing you think they should start to do? What was the first thing you did when you were starting to pick up a basketball?
Definitely, I've always worked on ball handling. I'm not the best at it, but once you know how to dribble the ball, I think that's when you can start working on other fundamentals of the sport.
All right, Mariana, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to thank your support system, all the people that have been there for you throughout your career and the people that you wouldn't be here without.
Just thank you to the coaches, my team, friends, and family.
All right, Mariana, thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you the best of luck in that regional semifinal, and we hope to talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you.
Mariana Toscano from Springfield, and those were two really great interviews from two really great younger players. You know, Ava's a junior, Mariana's a sophomore, so they're both going to be in the fold for Springfield next year when they lose some pretty incredible seniors to graduation. So they're going to be players that you're going to hear from in years to come. So excited to get them on the network and get them their time in the spotlight. They both were fantastic interviews. We wish them the best of luck tonight in Massillon Perry. Before we get out of here, let's get over the other games that are going on tonight on the network as we go into our spreadsheet, our games at a glance. And we see that on today, March 2nd, we have Springfield versus Dalton, which will be the regional semifinal. That game's going to be tipping off at 6 o'clock in Massillon Perry. Noah Doty's going to be on the call. He'll stay in Perry as Western Reserve takes on Buckeye Central right after the Springfield game, roughly 8 o'clock. Both those games can be seen on ysnlive.com. Boys basketball, we got some games from Twinsburg, Euclid, NDCL, and Boardman. As first in Euclid, Louisville will be traveling to Euclid to play Walsh Jesuit. 7 o'clock start time there. Also 7 o'clock, we have Glen Oak versus Hoban at Twinsburg. Ty Bartell will be on the call at 7 there. Gilmore Academy versus Girard at NDCL. That'll be at 7 o'clock. Winner will go on to the district championship game. And then we have Cheney versus Alliance at Boardman. Michael Janaki will have the call there. That'll be a 7 o'clock start time in Boardman as well. So our last round of district semifinals tonight on the boys' side. A couple more regional semifinals tonight on the girls' side. We've already had one girls' team punch their ticket to a regional final. And we're hoping that we get two teams punching their ticket tonight, and we can say that it is an all YSN regional championship with a guaranteed lock to have a member of the YSN family going to state. Other than that, that'll do it for today's show. Thank you so much, to the players that were able to give me their time to do an interview earlier this week. I know it's a crazy week. We're getting ready for a tournament game. Emotions are high, stress is high, but they were able to come on and do an interview with me and give me some of their time this week. So I thank them. Thank you guys for tuning in like you do every day. We love my audience and the people that support YSN. Can't do it without you. Can't do it without you. We'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2. Got some more interviews for you. We're going to hear one from Nate Lewis from South Range as they gear up for their district championship game. And we'll also have the last interview from the Hoban girls basketball team for you with Mackenzie Edinburgh tomorrow as well, as they completed their season in the regional semifinals on Tuesday. So we have a lot to look forward to tomorrow. We'll be back from 1 to 2. Obviously, we'll also have recaps and previews like we always do. But until then, I'm signing off. Have a great night, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in today to Running Point.